Welcome to Azure Teach.net. We are going to develop an Angular application that will look like this. On click of the login button, the user will be redirected to Azure login page. And once the login is successful, the user will be redirected back to the Angular application and will show a welcome message like this. On click of logout button, the user will be redirected to the Azure logout page. Once the logout is successful, the user will be redirected back to the Angular application and will show login button again. Please subscribe to AzureTeach.net for more videos on Azure and .NET. We need to create new project and add required packages. So here I am typing ng new Azure AD Angular demo. We need routing for this, so I'm pressing yes over here. I want to go with SCSS. Now let us go into the project folder, cd Azure AD Angular demo. And now we have to install few packages. We are going to use Angular material controls, so we need to install Angular material library. As we are going to use Azure AD, we have to install packages related to that as well. So here I'm installing MSAL browser and MSAL Angular packages. Now let us open the application in Visual Studio Code. So here I'm writing code dot. It opens the current folder inside Visual Studio Code. As we are going to use Azure AD, we have to create an app registration inside Azure. So here I am in portal.azure.com. I am going to Azure Active Directory and app registrations. Here I am creating a new app registration, and here I am giving name as Angular Azure AD app, and I want to go with the default settings. I'm clicking on register, and here inside the authentication section we have to add platform, and we are going to use single page application. And here the redirect URI should be http://localhost:4200 as Angular application runs at localhost:4200. And here we must check this checkbox. This implicit flows related to the single page application. So here I'm clicking on configure. We are going to access Azure Graph API from our Angular application. So inside the API permissions, it should have Azure Graph related permissions. So here if you see, it is added by default, and which is a delegated permission. Here inside overview section we have client ID and tenant ID. This we are going to use when we are configuring Azure AD inside our Angular application. Now inside app.module.ts we have to add configuration related to Azure AD. So here I'm writing MSAL.forRoot. And to this we have to pass new public client application. To this we have to pass Azure AD related configuration, that is an object. So here I am writing auth, and inside this auth section we have to pass client ID, redirect URI, and authority. Now we have to get these details from our Azure app registration. So here we have the client ID, and I'm pasting it over here. And here we have the tenant ID, and this we have to use inside authority. So here I'm writing https://login.microsoftonline.com/tenant ID, and here the redirect URI should be http://localhost:4200. Why this configuration is required? So when the user accesses the application using the browser and the user is not logged on, then the application will be redirected to this particular URI using the client ID. So based on these details, Azure will decide to which subscription this application belongs to, and it will validate these details and return an access token, and it returns that access token to localhost:4200, and the same we have configured inside our app registration. And after that, here we have to write cache, and here cache location will be local storage. And after that, here store auth state in cookie, this should be false. If you want to set auth state inside cookie, then you can set this flag to true. But this is mostly needed for browsers like Internet Explorer, and as Internet Explorer is already dead, I set this to false. And in this demo, we are going to test this application using Chrome, but the same will be working inside Edge as well. If you are targeting for Internet Explorer, we can get the browser information like this. So here I'm writing constant IE is equal to window.navigator.useragent.index of, and if the user agent contains MSIE, that means the browser is Internet Explorer. And also we can look for window.navigator.useragent.index of trident. So if the trident is also there, then that means the browser is Internet Explorer, and we can set that flag over here. User can log on to any Angular application in two ways. One is using the pop-ups and another one is using the redirects. In this demo, we are going to use redirects. So we have to pass the configuration related to that over here. So here I'm writing an object, and this is related to MSAL guard configuration. So here I'm writing interaction type, and interaction type will be interaction type dot redirect. So if you see here, we have pop-up, redirect, and silent. We are using redirect over here. And after that, here we have to configure the auth request. And as we are going to access the Graph API, we have to pass the scopes. And by default, when user logs in, it uses this scope in getting the access token. So here we have to pass user.read permission. And we are setting that user.read based on API permissions and this particular user.read. We have to pass one more configuration over here, and that configuration is related to the APIs that we are going to access. We are going to access the Graph API, so we are going to configure the same here. And also, if you access any organization related APIs or any other APIs which needs Azure access token, you have to configure over here. So here again we have to write interaction type dot redirect. Then we have to pass the API's information inside protected resource map, and it will be a new map object and it accepts an array. And to this we have to pass our Graph API URL. So here I'm writing https://graph.microsoft.com/v1.4/me, and after that we have to pass an array of the permissions, and here we have user.read. And if you want to access any organization related APIs, here you have to mention the URL or a part of the URL, and after that here you have to mention the permissions that we call as scopes. But for now, let us keep as is. It should be inside an array. Here we have to add few providers related to Azure AD, and here I'm writing provide HTTP interceptors, and the interceptor that we are going to add will intercept all the HTTP requests, and it will add access tokens so that they can access protected resources like Graph API or any enterprise API which needs Azure access token. So here we have to write use class, and it should be MSAL interceptor, and after that we can mention multi to true over here. And after that here we have to add MSAL guard. And this MSAL guard we are going to use on top of our protected routes. Like if user try to access any URL inside our application, if this MSAL guard is configured, this will protect that route and it will check if the user is logged on or not. If the user is logged on, then only it will allow the user to view that web page. And after that here we have to add MSAL redirect component. That's it. This is what we have to do inside this app.module.ts. It is very easy, right? If you look at this code, at the first glance, you may feel difficulty in understanding this code, but if you break down this code into bits and pieces and understand, it is very easy. So let me explain this code once again. As we are using Azure login, we have to use this MSAL module and we have imported it to our application. And we have to pass certain details. Based on that, Azure can decide to which tenant this application belongs to. So here we are mentioning those details and we got these details from Azure app registration. And here once the application is redirected to Azure AD login page and the login is successful, Azure will return the token to this particular URI. Here we are mentioning the location to store auth state, and here we are mentioning that we are using redirection based Azure login, and also here we are passing the scopes related to our application. And here we are mentioning the protected resources, and here we have mentioned Azure Graph API. And we have to pass the interceptors as it has to add the Azure access token inside each request that it sent. So here we have configured the HTTP interceptor, and also as we are going to protect some of our routes, so here we have used MSAL guard. And also when the application is loaded, it has to bootstrap app component and also MSAL redirect component. So here we have mentioned that. Now inside index.html, we have to add app redirect, which is related to Azure AD. App redirect. Now let us add some imports related to Angular material controls. If you see on this page, this top nav bar is material toolbar and we have used Angular material buttons, and this particular outline box, that is Angular card, and the lines which are showing over here is Angular material divider, and this list is Angular material list. So we have to import all these things inside app.module.ts. Here I'm importing those modules. You can get this information from Angular material documentation. And also we have to import the same modules inside this import section. Now let us generate a component for this profile page. Here press Ctrl J, and here I'm writing ng generate component, and I want to generate profile component. The component is generated successfully. Let us generate one more component, that is home component. It is generated successfully. Now we have to add our routes configuration inside app-routing.module.ts class, and here I'm adding path, that is profile, and its component is profile component. And we have to use MSAL guard on top of this because this component can only be visible if the user is logged on. So this will do that check for us. And here we have to add the default route. The default route is home component. So here I'm writing component home component, and this doesn't require any MSAL guard configuration. That means irrespective of the user login status, this component can be seen. And one other configuration that we have to do over here, and here we have to set the initial navigation, and this should be enabled for Azure AD. This top navbar and also login logout related functionality should go into app component as it acts as a layout page for our application. Let us write some code inside that. Here I am inside app.component.html and I am removing this default code. Here I am writing mat toolbar and it should have mat elevation Z4, and I want to give color as primary. This class elevates mat toolbar. In simple words, we can say like it adds some kind of shadow to the material toolbar so that it can be exposed well. And after that, here we need to write routing related code. So here I am writing ahref is equal to /. That means this will redirect to the root page of the application. And here I'm writing class equal to title, and after that here I'm writing Azure Teach.net. This will give us this particular label. After that here I'm writing a mat button and router link is equal to profile. This is for that profile link, and here I'm writing profile. Now here we have to write code to display login and logout button. So here I'm writing button mat raised button, and here I'm writing ngIf. We are going to declare one variable inside app.component.ts, and based on that variable we are going to show login or logout buttons. So here I'm writing ngIf. If the user is not logged on, then we are going to display login button, and I'm copying it. And here if the user is logged on, then we have to show logout button, and it is complaining as we haven't declared this variable. So here I'm copying this and I'm going to app.component.ts, and inside this I'm writing that variable, and this is a boolean variable. By default it can be set to false. Here the title is at complete left and the buttons are at complete right, and there is some gap in between. So we have to write some code related to this. Here I'm writing dev class is equal to toolbar spacer, and this will add the gap, and we have to write CSS related to this. Here inside app.component.html we have to write one more thing, that is router outlet. This will display the top navbar, and this will display the output of the routes. Those are home component or profile component. Here inside style.css I am importing one of the default styles of Angular material, that is indigo pink, and also let us add some code. So here I'm writing HTML and body, and this should have height of 100%, and after that here adding code related to toolbar spacer, and this should be flex one space auto. This will give us the gap that we have seen before. And after that here I'm writing a.title, and I want to display the title in white color. So this refers to the title that we have written over here. As this is the hyperlink, it will display underline, but I do not want to display the underline. So here I'm writing text decoration none. And here I have added some CSS related to the fonts. Those will be used inside our application. Now inside app.component.html, here on click of login button, we have to execute some logic for login. So here I'm writing click is equal to login, and for logout we have to execute logout logic. So here I'm writing click is equal to logout. Now let us write login logout related code inside app.component.ts. Here we have to implement on init and on destroy. So here I'm writing on init and on destroy, pressing Ctrl dot here and implement all unimplemented interfaces. I'm just moving this to the top, and after that we have to add a constructor. So inside constructor we have to get few dependencies related to Azure AD, and inside constructor parameters I'm writing @inject, and inside this I'm writing MSAL guard config. This will return MSAL guard config, and private MSAL guard config, and here we have to write the type related to that. So here I'm writing MSAL guard configuration, and after that here private MSAL broadcast service. These are all needed to write the login related code. So here I'm writing MSAL broadcast service, and here I'm writing private auth service. It should be MSAL service, and inside on init we have to subscribe to Azure events and decide if the user is logged on or not, and for that we can use MSAL broadcast service dot in progress. This will give us the logged in status, whether it is in progress or completed. So on this I'm writing pipe, and inside this I'm writing filter, and inside filter we have to get interaction status. It should be a type of interaction status, and to this we have to pass a lambda, and here we have to check interaction status is equal to interaction status dot none. Let us go inside this code. So if you see here, we have different kinds of status over here. So startup, login, logout, acquire token, SSO, silent, handle redirect, and here for none, status set when interaction is complete. That means the login is complete. So we have to import this filter operator from rxjs, and here after that we have to subscribe, and inside the subscription we have to write this dot is user logged in is equal to this dot auth service dot instance dot get all accounts. So if the user is logged in, we'll get at least one account over here, and if the length is greater than 0, then we can say like the user is logged in. As we are using subscribe over observables, we have to destroy this subscription as and when this component is destroyed to avoid memory leaks. So for that, here I'm declaring private read only underscore destroy. It should be a new subject of void, and here we have to pass it into a take until operator. So here I'm writing take until, and to this I'm passing this dot destroy, and inside ng on destroy we have to write this dot underscore destroy dot next, and I'm setting this to undefined, and we are completing the subject. So this dot destroy dot complete. This code will take care of destroying the subscriptions. Let us write code related to the login. So here I'm writing login, and inside this, if this dot MSAL.config dot auth request, so if this is there, we'll pass this object to the Azure. So here I'm writing this dot auth service dot login redirect, and to this we have to pass the object. So here I'm writing dot this dot msal dot config dot auth request, and this should be a type of redirect request. And after that, if this auth request is not there, then we have to call this dot auth service dot login redirect without any object. So we'll get this configuration from our app.module.ts, and here if you see, here we have that auth request, and inside app.component.ts, here we can write code related to the logout. So here I'm writing logout, and inside this dot auth service dot logout redirect, and to this we can pass a post logout URI. So we can declare our post logout URI inside environment.ts, and here I'm writing post logout URI. It should be the same URI, http colon slash slash localhost colon 4200, and here inside app component.ts, here we can pass the post logout URI. So here I'm mentioning environment dot post logout URL. Based on this setting, once user clicks on logout button, the user will be redirected to Azure logout page, and once logout is successful, again the Azure will redirect the request back to the post logout redirect URI, that is localhost colon 4200. If the user is logged in, I want to display a message inside homepage. So let us write some code over here. So here I'm writing dev star ngf is equal to, and here again we are using the same flag is user logged in, and we have to declare this flag inside the component.ts, and we have to use it. So here I'm writing mat card, and here inside this I'm writing mat card content, and inside this I'm writing div class is equal to center, and inside this I'm writing h1 class is equal to center. We have to write the CSS style color. I want to display in blue color, and here I'm writing welcome to Azure Teach.net. Let us declare this variable inside home component.ts. So here inside home component.ts I'm writing is user logged in, and it's a boolean variable, and it should be set to false by default. Let us add one more CSS class over here. So here I'm writing class is equal to title card. Here I'm pasting the CSS related to title card and also the center. This will display the card inside center of the web page and show the message in the center of that particular card. We need to know if the user is logged in or not inside home component also. So one thing what we can do is we can go over here and we can copy this code and replicate it over here inside home component, but that's a bad idea. So instead we can add a shared survey. So here I'm writing nggs, this generate the survey. So here I'm writing Azure AD demo. The service is generated and we have to add this inside app modules provider section. So here I'm writing Azure AD demo service. Now inside app.component.ts, here I'm injecting that service. So here I'm writing private Azure AD demo service, and here I'm writing Azure AD demo service. And inside Azure AD demo service, we can declare a subject is user logged in, and this should be a subject of boolean is equal to new subject of boolean. Now inside app component.ts, so when we are setting this flag, we can do this dot Azure AD demo service dot is user logged in dot next, and we can set this dot is user logged in. Now we can subscribe to this variable inside our home component.ts. So here inside the constructor, again we have to add dependency related to Azure AD demo service. So here I'm writing Azure AD demo service, Azure AD demo service, and in init I'm writing this dot Azure AD demo service dot is user logged in dot subscribe, and inside this I'm setting x will be that boolean value. So this dot is user logged in is equal to x. I'm not writing take until and destroy over here in the similar way that we have written inside app component.ts. If you want to write it, you can write it, but this is a demo. I want to leave it. But if you are working for a real-time project, you must have to write destroy. Let us run our application and test our logic. The application is running now. Here I have accessed the application and clicking on login button. The application redirected to the Azure login page, and I'm logging into the application, clicking on sign in, and here I'm choosing skip for now, clicking on yes over here. Now the login is successful and here it is showing the welcome message. I'm clicking on logout button. It is showing Azure logout page and I'm choosing the user. The logout is complete and it is redirected back to our application and showing the login button. If you feel this video is helpful to you, please like this video and also subscribe to Azure Teach.net channel.